Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes.
You're listening to the Front Yard Mission podcast. Front Yard Mission is a love God, love neighbor movement in our world. Jesus took the 613 commandments in the Old Testament and boiled them down to just 2, to love God and love neighbor.
To the Front Yard Mission podcast. I'm Steve Lutz.
I am Jonathan Weibel.
And Jonathan, we have a special treat today, kind of a Christmas holiday themed episode.
Yes.
With a very special guest that I'm looking forward to bringing out soon. Jonathan, I know your favorite movie ever, period.
Ever, without a doubt. And it's kind of one of those things that's a marker of, can you be my friend?
Yes.
If this isn't in at least one of your top 5 Christmas movies, I cannot be your friend.
So high stakes here.
Yes.
And that movie, of course,
is It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, I thought it was Die Hard. I was going to say.
That's right. That's my second favorite Christmas
movie. It's my top 5, to be sure. No, of course, we're talking about It's a Wonderful Life, the Jimmy Stewart classic.
Yes.
Frank Capra. 1946. I mean, for many of us, it's an annual tradition to watch that movie, right?
Yes.
How many times do you think you've seen it?
I've seen it. So I've been married for 34 years, 35.
Tremendous.
I don't know, something like that. And
Susie,
and my wife and I started watching it after we got engaged, and we've watched it once a year for that many years.
Yeah.
And we go to the State Theater here in State College and watch it there. So
that's pretty epic because that's an old time classic theater.
Cool.
Watch It's a Wonderful Life, man.
So it's really meaningful to us personally as a couple, but like it's so meaningful in the area of neighboring and Front Yard Mission. There's this sense of community in this movie like no other movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And there's so many interesting things about the movie and how it was made, and it was made during a heat wave. So
if I remember correctly, the technology to create all the fake snow was pretty groundbreaking. Right?
Correct. It was called Snow Business. The company that did it. And I think they won an Academy Award, or I know they was the only Academy Award they won, even though they were nominated for nearly every big category, was in technical production.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. But
so kids watching, that's not CGI.
No.
Right? That was practical effects, as they say.
Exactly.
But even beyond that, I mean, I think when you watch a movie like It's a Wonderful Life, we're in the realm of what theologians would call common grace.
Yeah.
Right. There are ways that God's grace is revealed, even has been revealed to humanity, and sometimes it shines through in some pretty amazing, incredible ways. And so it's not a Christian movie per se.
No.
But there's a lot of common grace in that movie, and for those of us who care about loving our neighbors, doing what Jesus called us to in terms of loving our neighbors, there's so much there to be inspired by and encouraged by. Huh?
So many great themes in this for us as Front Yard missionaries, specifically community and neighboring and the importance of being a part of a community and the impact that we can have on our neighbors when we support and love them. And we see, like in George Bailey, who Jimmy Stewart plays, that he's on the brink of suicide. He's standing on a bridge, and God sends an angel, Clarence, to Clarence is trying to get his wings, and the whole thing is about what if you never lived. What if? Yeah,
we're not a movie podcast, but spoiler alert: if you've never watched It's a Wonderful Life, probably just stop listening right now. Go watch that film because you need to.
Actually, if you've never seen it, just please delete our podcast because
we still want to be your friends. But please go watch that movie. And it's it's for people who maybe haven't seen it in a while. Listen, it's not just like a Hallmark. No offense to people who like the Hallmark or Lifetime movies, but it goes to some pretty deep places there with George Bailey contemplating suicide, and then this whole alternate reality. What if? What if he had never existed? And it goes on to really show the impact that one person trying to be a good neighbor can have.
Yeah, and think about this, listener. Would it have mattered that you lived in your neighborhood? Are you having an impact on your neighbors? Are you having influence? You're a person of influence, but are you being intentional in loving your neighbor, praying, loving, inviting your neighbor in? Will it have mattered when you move and leave your neighborhood?
Yeah. I know a lot of pastors have asked that question, hey, if our church were to no longer exist tomorrow, would anybody notice?
Right.
Would it make a difference? And I think that's an equally good question for us as Christ followers.
So we are so excited because we have one of the actresses from the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and she played a pivotal part in the movie. She's George Bailey's daughter, and probably the most iconic scene in the movie is her line. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
That's a Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clem.
Even if you haven't seen the movie, you've seen that clip.
That's right.
Right. You've heard
Exactly.
that probably many times. Classic clip. And so we are so lucky to have on the show with us today. All right. Well, welcome to the Front Yard Mission Podcast, Karolyn Grimes. Great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm really glad to join you today.
Well, thank you.
We are just such nerds for It's a Wonderful Life, and this is a dream come true.
It really is.
Yeah, it totally is. And so you're known as Zuzu, right? That's it's almost like an identity thing for you. People probably call you Zuzu, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
More than Carolyn.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now, Karolyn, I think it's also fair to point out It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life was one film that you were in, but you were also in quite a few other ones, correct?
Yes. I got to work with some of the greatest movie stars of the olden days, and they were wonderful back then. The whole business was much, much better than it is now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be in The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant. That's not bad.
David Niven and Loretta Young.
Oh.
And it's a wonderful Christmas movie. It's really good.
Yeah, underrated Christmas movie. And then you were in Rio Grande with John Wayne, and you've acted with Danny
In
Kaye.
Moab, Utah for 3 weeks when we filmed that. And that was fun.
Yeah. So you are Hollywood royalty, my friend.
I did.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to do that.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't realize it at the time, but I certainly do now.
Yeah. So, Karolyn, tell us a little about your personal story, just a minute or two. Give us a quick, who is Karolyn Grimes?
Well, I'm known for playing Zuzu in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And I was born and raised in California.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother was a stage mom. And so she took me and gave me every lesson possible. Singing, dancing, elocution, dialect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything. I did it all. And it all stayed pretty well with me, except dancing. That was a lost cause. But everything else went pretty well. And so when she got me all decked out with smarts, she took me to see an agent. And she said, I want to get her in the movies. So she happened to take me to the best child agent at the time. She had most of the children in the industry in her fold. Her name was Lola Moore. All of us kids that were in It's a Wonderful Life, she was our agent.
Right.
So she sent us on interviews, and the first interview, I got a part, and I was in.
You were 4,
I started when I
right?
was 4.
Wow.
4 years old.
And then later on in life, I think you were in 16 movies or something like that.
Yeah, I was in 16 movies.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And then tell us a little bit about like your parents and what happened with that, and because it's sad, tragic.
Well, it molded me, and maybe that's a good thing. A lot of positive things came out of the situation I lived in. I lived in Los Angeles, and I was born and raised in Hollywood, at the Hollywood Hospital on July the 4th.
Wow.
And out with
1940.
bang.
Yeah, that's right. Firecracker.
So my dad worked for Safeway stores, and he wasn't home a whole lot. So my mom used to take me to the calls, and when I got a part, she'd take me to the job, and she had to be there every day and all that sort of thing. So she started getting sick when I was 8, and she ended up dying when I was 14. But when she got sick, it kind of stopped my career, so to speak, because there wasn't anybody to take me to interviews, and there wasn't anybody to be with me when I was working. And you have to have a guardian there with you when you're on stage and working in a film. So my interest in being in the movies kind of dwindled, and by that time I discovered boys, and that was kind of my focus at that time. So I really didn't miss being in the movies because it was work. You had to memorize, and you had to do exactly what they tell you, and they don't ever shoot a scene just once. They do it over and over again. So it's a lot of repetitive stuff, and it's not, that much fun. It's work. So I didn't push it particularly. And then a year later, after my mom died, my dad got killed in a car accident. So the court in Hollywood decided that I would be better off to live with my father's brother and his mean wife in a little town in Missouri, Osceola, Missouri. So the court shipped me back there, and I finished high school and went to college, and it was a terrible life. I went through literal hell, but the town, there were 800 people in the town. There were 900 kids in my high school class in LA. So to have this little town, there were 30 kids in my class. And it was fun because, they all came from farms, and the boys would do chores in the morning, and they came in and they smelled like horse caca. And so that was my introduction to Missouri. But the people in the town were so wonderful. They supported me all the way. They knew I was in a very bad situation, and they showed me so much love. I will never forget all that they did for me and gave me encouragement, and I was really blessed in that regard. So I went on with my life, and
became like a medical technician or something, right?
I became a medical technician. I got married, and then I divorced him, and right after I divorced him, he got killed deer hunting. So my 2 daughters didn't have a dad, and so I remarried, and then he had 3 kids. I had 2, and then we had 2 together. So I raised 7 kids for 25 years.
Wow.
So that was interesting. And then, unfortunately, I lost my son, my only son. And he had a very, very, he was emotionally disturbed, I guess you might say. Anyway, took his own life when he was 18. And that was something that really, I never have gotten over that. You don't get over it. It's like, so that was kind of rough. And then right after that, my husband died. So that wasn't fun either. But you know what? God gave me a positive attitude, and he gave me hope no matter what. I always looked for the good in whatever situation I was in. If it wasn't very good, if it's a bad situation, I looked for the good. And it was always there. So that worked for me very well and still do. I do that all the time. So I'm very happy today. But about that time, It's a Wonderful Life started in. And I never watched that movie till I was 40.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I read that
Really?
about that. Yeah.
People started coming to my door. I lived out in the country in this gigantic house. And they said, were you in It's a Wonderful Life? And I said, yes. Well, could we have an interview? Okay. And I had all my memorabilia in the basement. So I started bringing it up.
Yeah.
And I just finally left it up because I was being asked for so many interviews. And it just kind of grew from there. And then the Target company called me. And they said, we're going to reunite the Bailey kids.
Oh.
And I said, really? Yeah, we're going to do that. So after watching that movie for the first time and seeing what a magic film it really was and how it spoke to so many people, I thought, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
So they reunited Larry Sims and Jimmy Hawkins and Carol Coombs Mueller. And we traveled all over the United States for the Target company that year for Christmas. And that was a theme in their store that year. And it was so exciting to be reunited with these people after I hadn't seen them for so many years. And that's when it all started.
Yeah.
And I liked it because we would meet the people and we'd be at tables and people would come through the autograph line. And they'd tell me so many stories about how this movie had affected their lives in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is a mission. And it's being offered to me at this point in my life. And so from that time forward, I started traveling for the film, for It's a Wonderful Life. And I'm still doing it. I'm 84 and I'm still doing it.
I know.
That's awesome.
The Front Yard Mission podcast is sponsored by The Flower Box. The Flower Box is one of the top online resources for cookie decorating supplies, monthly cookie classes, and oodles of free video tutorials. Flowerbox.com features an extensive line of creative cookie cutters, cookie stencils, and cookie decorating kits. Plus, find the book, The Crafted Cookie, a beginner's guide to baking and decorating cookies. The Flower Box team is passionate about helping home bakers find joy and purpose through cookies. The Flower Box is based in Center Hall, Pennsylvania, and online at flowerbox.com. That's FLOURBOX.com. The Flower Box is honored to support Front Yard Mission.
Your Front Yard Mission is part of God's calling for your life. We call it our common calling. In other words, we all have it. Leadership Advance is designed to help you better understand how God has shaped you for His unique and specific calling on your life. There will be encouraging speakers, insightful assessments, personal coaching, and opportunities to interact with other participants that will combine to create a uniquely impactful weekend. Whatever your season of life, age, or career, Leadership Advance will have something for you. This event is held in the first quarter of the year, and you can get additional information by visiting us at leadershipadvance.org.
I think it's worth noting, especially for some of our younger listeners who maybe they haven't thought about, like these days people get famous and it goes on social media and they have their 15 minutes of fame, people like to say, and it's instant. But you're talking about we're in some incredible films with some incredible actors at a young age, and then you just kind of went on with your life, and then it came back to you later on in life.
It doesn't happen very often.
No,
Yeah.
I can't think of
It
any
was a
time
wonderful
it happens,
gift.
really.
Wonderful gift. And you discover when you help people, when you see their smiles, see their eyes, because they're so thrilled to see you. And it's not you, it's not me. It's the film, and it's the messages from that film that the people embrace. And I'm just an emissary, and I say hi, but they're thrilled to death because I was a piece of that film that has so much meaning to their lives.
Yeah.
So you were 6 when you made the movie. but like, and so you probably didn't know you were making something so iconic and so historic and something that would be so meaningful to so many people. Do you think the adults in the cast, do you think they had that sense that there was something special? I mean, Capra said it was his best movie ever made. Jimmy Stewart said it was the best movie ever made. Donna Reed said it was the best. You know what I mean?
But it flopped. It was a major flop.
Yes.
It died at the box office.
Yeah.
And
that's incredible.
So, it's sat on a shelf for 25 years, but I can understand why. It was right after the World War II.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And people wanted to be entertained. They wanted to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
This was about a man who's considering committing suicide. I mean, it was a dark movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was advertised as a comedy. And it was not a comedy by any means. So if you went to see that show, you wouldn't have liked it because it wasn't what you expected.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's just so many things that happened that it really shouldn't have been released at that time. And it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be released the following year in March. But the studio head came to Capra, and Sinbad the Sailor was supposed to be the Christmas movie that year, and it wasn't ready. So they said, let's get your movie ready and hurry up. So he did a lot, he got it ready and rather kind of, there's a lot of mistakes in the editing, believe me, of the film. If you've ever watched it that much, you kind of notice that. But he finally finished it, but it wasn't released until December the 20th at the Globe Theater in New York.
Yeah.
That's too late for
too
a
late
Christmas
movie.
Yeah.
Like traditionally, they're like Thanksgiving is when they release Christmas movies.
So there wasn't any chance for that movie to make it at that time.
So do you have any like good memories from making the film, or like spending time with Jimmy Stewart or Donna Reed or anything like that? Do you have any memories?
The kids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun with the kids. We chased around. We had fun. I really enjoyed being with the kids. Jimmy Stewart was wonderful because I was always on his back or, some way
hanging on him,
hindering him. So he was always sweet and very nice. And at that time, he didn't have any children or, he just gotten back from World War II as a war hero.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a stressful time for him because he was trying to adjust to civilian life again. And that was difficult for him. He'd been through a lot.
Yeah.
And
there's that scene in the movie when he's at Martini's bar and he's praying, right? You remember that scene, Karolyn? Like,
it was very special to him.
That was a very special scene when he's praying and like I can't remember. I mean, they had this close up on him, and it was a little grainy even back then.
Well, that was because he did. You don't do a scene just once; you do it on him. So he did the scene, and he got involved emotionally himself in his time in the war, and he automatically started crying, and he actually felt this scene. And so the next takes were not as good.
Right.
So Capra knew that first one was the one. Yeah. So he did a lot of fancy camera work and editing and blew his face up.
Yeah.
That's why it looks like that in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Do you have a fun story or two from making the movie or since the movie?
Well, not really making the movie. I mean, I used to run around with the kids, and I'd chase little Jimmy Hawkins because he's 4 and I was 6.
Tommy, right?
Yes. Yeah. But when that red light went on, we knew we had to be quiet and be still, or we'd be in deep trouble. So, it was fun. The Christmas tree was magnificent, and I was an only child, so I had a tree that was about 2 feet tall on a table. And here's this giant Christmas tree. And I loved that. I just thought it was so amazing. So I really enjoyed that. But, actually, I got to know them so well at the people afterwards, years later, that became really special to me.
Yeah.
Not really making of the film because it was just another job.
Yep.
Right.
Nothing special about it.
Mm-hmm.
When you grow up and you're 6 and you're making movies with Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed, you're like, that's your normal.
I didn't know they were stars. I didn't know what a star was, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My mother kept me very out of the limelight, and she, really didn't let me know that I was doing something very special.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted me to grow up just normal and be normal.
And she didn't want you to watch the movies you were in, right? She thought it was a point of pride to watch a movie you were in.
Or talk about being in it or anything like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Old school. Yeah.
Is it creepy that I know so much about you? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it is kind of creepy.
Well, he's fanboy. I have to ask, Karolyn, on your own Christmas tree nowadays, do you have anything that's tied into It's a Wonderful Life? Any
it's all
decorations?
It's a Wonderful Life. So I'm never home. That's the problem. I grew up and I was a mother who was Christmas nut. And I had trees, giant trees, several trees. I had a lot of decorations because I was a Christmas nut. And so now I'm never home.
Yeah.
I travel the whole month of November and December, so I'm never home. I put my Christmas tree up before Halloween, and I only have one, and that's it. But it's all full of It's a Wonderful Life ornaments. There have been many over the years, and a lot of people hand make them for me.
Wow.
And give them to me, and they're beautiful. And I save every one of them, and they're all on my tree every year at Christmas. So it's a Wonderful Life tree.
Yeah.
Right. And you also make some ornaments, I think, or you have a friend that makes some.
I did.
Yeah.
Have one dear friend that made them, but unfortunately she got cancer and died. I've been having others produced.
Right.
So I sell ornaments and I sell memorabilia from It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. So since I mentioned to a couple people I was going to have you on the podcast, they're like, can she sign something for me? So I'm going to hit you up. Okay, Karolyn?
Sure.
All right. I'll hit you up later. So, like in 1974, the copyright ran out, clerical error. They didn't renew the copyright, right, for the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And it was kind of, a little bit of an unknown movie, and then it just exploded because now anybody could use it. Anybody could use it for free.
Every little television station could show it. Didn't cost them anything.
And thank God. Thank God.
How
that
it got
happened.
noticed.
Yeah. So
if it hadn't run out, we wouldn't be seeing it today.
right. Exactly. So other than that, though, why do you think the movie is so important to so many people and has endured such a long time?
Because it's about real life. And there's not very many of us who have not experienced pain and suffering in their lives. And they see how George, what the things that happened to him and the things he went through, and they identify with him. So when it all comes to fruition and he realizes what's important in his life, family and friends, and that sort of thing, it happens to you too. And it's a revelation, and you feel so good. You cry because you're so happy. And it's an emotional roller coaster, really and truly.
It is.
And so when people saw that, they really embraced it. And that didn't happen till, it was open to the public and it was public domain. That was a gift to the people, truly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, we're very glad it got seen. It's not buried in some vault somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. And well, it stuck. I mean, when people first saw it, their emotions were so full of sadness, happiness, anger, everything. It all comes in that movie.
Mhm.
And it takes you on this emotional roller coaster that you don't forget.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have that boost every year at Christmas. But I have a lot of people who get, when they get depressed, a lot of fans tell me that they watch that movie. They pull it out,
Mhm.
sit down and watch it. And it puts a new perspective back in their lives.
Yeah.
And they can go on
Mhm.
with a positive outlook.
Yeah.
We all get down. That's just part of life.
Yes.
So
I
if that
got a
movie-
question. I know you
Go
got
ahead.
something percolating. Right. Well, we're talking about this part.
Yeah.
So that final scene in the movie, to my big brother George, the richest man in town.
that's when I start to cry.
I was gonna ask you, do you cry? I have cried every
Yeah.
year. We have.
That's
watched
where
that.
it happens to me.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the moment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the one that gets me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So poignant. Karolyn, you've become quite the ambassador for the film over the years. And, I think helping, you've alluded to it already in terms of people sending you ornaments and telling you some stories. In your years of traveling, talking to lots of different people about the impact of the film, are there any particular stories that have really stuck with you about how it's impacted others?
Well, I've had so many people tell me they were on the bridge, and
Wow.
that the movie brought them back
Mhm.
and gave them a purpose in life and put their thoughts in the right place. And that, to me, is really something special. I mean, the movie has impacted so many lives. I mean, I've had people. One guy told me that his wife had cancer and she's terminal, and she was in the hospital. And for the last 15 days of her life, they watched It's a Wonderful Life every day.
Wow.
And then she died. And for the funeral, since then, a lot of people have told me they do this too, but he bought a bunch of bells. And at the service, everybody rang their bell to give her wings.
Wow.
So, it's very encouraging that people really take to heart the messages from that film. But
What do
I
you-
think that's
That's so cool. That's so cool. And what do you think are like the main messages? Let me just tell you that like our ministry, our mission is a love God, love neighbor mission. That's specifically, we talk about neighborhoods and neighboring and community. And so we, for me, I've always been inspired by the movie because that's my heart, is to love God and to love my neighbor as myself. So what do you see? And I see that as obviously a big part of the movie. What do you see are some other important themes for the movie, from the movie?
Well, mostly for me, it's how each man's life touches another life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we watch that film and see that, and we don't realize how much we can make a difference ourselves. There's a lot of people that are depressed, that have problems, and maybe they're having a bad day. If you adapt an attitude of smiling and of wishing them a good day, or saying hello, or just being friendly to people, I think sometimes it can change their day, maybe even change their life. I mean, it's hard to say, but being a positive thinker and trying to spread a smile and happiness, I think that's a secret to the film. And I think that's one of the things that, I try to do that all the time. I think it's very important for us to smile and to laugh and to wish somebody a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to do today because
is.
our world's changed so much.
Yep.
And everyone is suspicious of anything that you try to do nice anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you have to kind of be careful. But I think that God gives you the intuition to know when it's the right time. So, I think that's par for the course. But that's what I think many people practice today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I think what you have just been saying, and when I think about George Bailey, that's saying that be kind because everyone's fighting a battle, right? You may not see it, but everyone's in that, and that's why we should seek to be kind to people who cross our paths, right?
Right.
You just never. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I just started doing a podcast, and it's called Zuzu All Grown Up.
Oh,
cool.
All right.
Well, subscribe to that, everybody.
Yeah.
My guests, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
My guests are all people who make a difference, who help others and make this world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to focus on, because I don't think people know. I have talked to people. I'm amazed. There's this group that make blankets, volunteers that make blankets for babies in hospitals all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they're called Blanketeers. And it's called Linus, from Charlie Brown.
Right.
Yeah.
And the blanket, and I mean, there's so many wonderful people out there that I've got a positive outlook that I hadn't had for a long time, but I'm seeing so many good things. Children have had cancer, and they've started as a child, even like one of them is a lemonade stand. She started making money. Alex's lemonade stand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And of course, she passed on. But they kept the charity going, and now it's helped so many children with cancer. I could go on forever, but I'm having a wonderful time meeting all of these great people who've made a difference and are making a difference.
Yeah.
One woman went on a run in Ecuador, and the kids that she was running with, they were older in their 20s. They didn't have any shoes. They ran barefoot. And so they heated up tar and put it on the bottom of their feet.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
She realized how they needed shoes. So she started getting shoes and having them sent all over the world. And so there's just so many people that are making a difference, and we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, it's kind of like, to quote almost a real life George Bailey from Pennsylvania, Mr. Rogers, right? Look for the helpers.
Yeah.
Right. He said, look for the helpers.
Yes.
Sounds like that's what you're doing. And we'll have to give your new podcast a listen. That sounds great.
Yeah. What's it called again?
Zuzu All Grown Up.
Yeah. You can find it on YouTube, everybody. Hey, before we go, Karolyn, I want to give you some, we call this the lightning round of questions. All right. I'm going to give you 10 questions. I don't want you to think about it. Just give me your first reaction. Okay. So we're going to do these.
So rapid fire.
I'll do one, and then we'll alternate. I'll do one, you do one.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Don't think about it. Ready, Karolyn? Ready, Zuzu?
Okay.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay. This is a layup. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
I threw that in. I knew that was. That was a gimme.
No brainer.
Favorite sport to play or watch?
Oh boy, that's hard. I'm not a sports person, but probably football.
All right.
Okay. Scale of 1 to 10. How good of a driver are you?
Oh, probably 8.
You've had a few.
I didn't write these questions.
I wrote these questions. I'm sorry. Okay. In your opinion, is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
No.
That's great. This is a good question. Okay. You can think about this one if you need to. Favorite actor you've ever worked with?
Cary Grant.
Cary Grant.
Oh my goodness.
Right. That's amazing.
That was a name drop right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Amazing.
Favorite city in the U.S. besides the one you live in?
I can't answer that. I have too many I love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would alienate too many people. I get it.
Well, I wouldn't alienate them, but I do. I have too many. I like so many of the cities
Yeah.
here. I do. Yeah.
How about, do you have a favorite vacation spot?
I don't vacation. I think
You
when
do
I
travel.
travel,
Yeah.
my work, that's a vacation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I used to travel a lot all over the world, but that was before I got so busy.
Yeah.
Now I really don't get to go very
All right.
many places at all.
Last two. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
Okay.
Excellent. Straight up chocolate.
Zuzu's favorite
Classic.
ice cream is chocolate, everybody.
All right.
I
And
love
then
chocolate.
final question, Karolyn. Top 3 favorite Christmas movies besides It's a Wonderful Life.
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, National
Christmas-
Lampoon, Christmas
Christmas
Vacation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I have to see that every year.
that's awesome.
Let's see. I like. Oh gosh, that's the one I watch.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like some of the other ones, but I guess maybe Polar Express.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good.
but
That's a good one.
What about White Christmas?
nah, I don't like that.
Fair enough. And this has been a raging debate for a long time. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Do you have an opinion on that?
I don't see it as a Christmas movie.
Okay.
I know a lot of people do, but I really don't.
Well,
it's
you
not
are-
that movie I want to watch at
You
Christmas.
are an authority on Christmas
Christmas
movies,
movies,
so I
yeah.
think that carries a lot. Your opinion carries a lot of weight there. So
Okay,
duly noted.
last lightning round
There's
question.
a lot of movies that have Christmas in them,
Yes,
but that doesn't mean they're a Christmas movie.
that's a fair point.
And to me,
a fair
that's
point.
kind of dialogue.
Okay,
Yeah.
Karolyn, right off the top of your head, last lightning round question for you. Okay. My mother passed away a few years ago. Would you be my new mommy?
Hey, I'm getting too close to the pass away part, so no, you don't have me for long.
That wasn't awkward at all, Jonathan.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was
When do
awkward.
you get a chance to talk
Well,
with
if you
Karolyn Grimes
want
and
a
ask her to be your
trophy
new
for
mother?
the best question ever asked me, that's a good one.
And it was a very savvy way to sort of dodge that too.
Yeah.
So well done, Karolyn.
Yes, no, or maybe.
Well, Karolyn, we have really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, and thanks for all the work that you do to continue to spread, the really positive message of It's a Wonderful Life, and it's a big part of not only your story but a lot of other people's stories now.
Yes.
So,
Karolyn, I just want to say personally, thank you for being you. I love you, and I mean that. And I love you more just getting to know you and talk to you. So thank you so much for being on our podcast. And go check out Zuzu All Grown Up.
yes,
That's it.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Go to Amazon.com and pick up your copy of our book, Front Yard Mission: How to Start a Love God, Love Neighbor movement in your neighborhood. If you're interested in learning more about Front Yard Mission, find us at frontyardmission.com or join our Facebook or Instagram community where you can find tips, stories, and encouragement to help you with your front yard mission. The Front Yard Mission podcast is sponsored by The Flower Box, produced by Nick Baumhart, and hosted by Steve Lutz and Jonathan Weibel. Our theme music, How to Heal a City, was written by Jonathan Weibel. I'm Trisha Brock. See you next time.